So, so arrest all the. I didn't know we were going to get to that, but here we are. Yeah, I am the law. Let's Judge Dredd the homeless. I mean, come on, let's take this to its logical conclusion. We know where we're all going with this, right? Like, you haven't said it yet, but I'm assuming this is going to hit eugenics levels. Let me see what PragerU has to say about the homeless. We haven't done PragerU in a while. Chico, I don't think you've ever done PragerU. No, you're not going to enjoy this. He's got no worries, you know. He's been listening to Hakuna Matata, the Lion King soundtrack, on a regular basis. As you can see, the troubles of the world don't really fall upon Chico. He just gets to stretch and chew toys and sleep, spin around in circles. There, that was a big task for the day, you know? A little spin.
What do we do about the homeless? This is one of the most vexing public policy problems we face. If you live in a big city, especially on the West Coast, you literally face it every day. And every day it seems to get worse.
Poof, already the framing of this, you face the homeless problem. This is something that you have to deal with every single day as you stare out from your ivory tower and you see the homeless. How does that affect you? How does that affect your life? You know? There's a Reddit called PragerUrine. Oh, color me intrigued. Soros paid me to make this our PragerU.
Why? Let's start with a couple facts. First, the word itself is misleading. Homelessness is not primarily a housing problem, it's a human problem.
Oh.
The primary drivers of homelessness are drug addiction and mental illness.
Oh, okay. That's all it is. So basically, homelessness is caused when people get addicted to the drugs. So if you can avoid the drugs, the problem's solved. And also, avoid mental illness. Don't catch the mental illness, everybody. So here's your two lessons. If you don't ever want to be homeless, don't ever do drugs, and don't ever do mental illness, okay?
According to data from UCLA's California Policy Lab, approximately 3/4 of people living in cars, tents, and on the streets suffer from serious mental illness, drug addiction, or both.
So it takes a particular kind of ghoul to look at that kind of information, process it, and then have it be like, oh, so correlation equals causation, you say. So this is how it works. So if they do the mental illness or they do the drug addiction, then they become home. Okay, well, now it all makes sense. So the solution is to end both of these things, I see.
Second, despite these conditions, the homeless actually make rational decisions about where they want to live. Not surprisingly, they move to the most permissive.
Aren't there broken down homes in Vancouver? Like, any property on Vancouver that has a lot is probably worth about $2 million, even if it's dilapidated.
Environment they can find. Make your city attractive for the homeless, and they'll beat a path to your doorway. The Venice Boulevard underpass on the border of Los Angeles and Culver City brings home this point. It's one of thousands of concrete structures in Los Angeles County, but there's a curious detail. The Los Angeles side is full of tents, and the Culver City side is empty. Why? Because the two cities have different public policies. Los Angeles has effectively decriminalized public camping and drug consumption, while Culver City enforces the law. This pattern that the homeless go where the policy environment is the most permissive.
So arrest all the. I didn't know we were going to get to that, but here we are. Yeah, I am the law. Let's Judge Dredd the homeless. I mean, come on, let's take this to its logical conclusion. We know where we're all going with this, right? Like, you haven't said it yet, but I'm assuming this is going to hit eugenics levels.
Permissive can be seen up and down the West Coast. In San Francisco County, it's estimated that 30% of the homeless migrated there after becoming homeless somewhere else. In the city of Seattle, that number is 51%. The San Francisco crime.
So again, don't house them. Don't worry about that. You just gotta lay down the law, all right? Because otherwise, I mean, you're gonna keep seeing it. The homeless will keep affecting you, and that's the real problem here.
Chronicle estimates that hundreds of homeless individuals move to the Bay Area each year because of the perception that it is a sanctuary for people who are unwilling to participate in programs.
So apparently 10% of all homeless people are actually U.S. veterans. So in essence, you were trying to criminalize U.S. veterans to a pretty staggering degree here by saying that, well, because they're homeless, at the end of the day, they're part of the problem. I mean, it's their own doing. They all have drug addictions and mental illness. We don't know how. We don't know where any of that came from. It's probably just, Anyways, yeah. So the solution here is that we need to make the laws real strict. Get them real criminalized.
Designed to get them off and keep them off a life in the streets. At first glance, this would seem to make no sense. Why would an individual with no shelter or stable source of income move to one of the most expensive cities in the country? But in the world of the homeless, it makes perfect sense.
The world of the homeless. You've heard a lot about ideologies on PragerU. You've heard about the trans ideology, the gay ideology, but now we have the homeless ideology. Welcome to the world of the homeless.
That's because they operate under a different set of incentives than the average citizen.
Of course.
In a research survey of homeless migrants in Seattle, 15% said they came to access homeless services, 10% came for legal marijuana, and 16% were transients who were traveling or visiting when they decided to set up camp.
How dare they?
But this dramatically understates the biggest draw of all, the de facto legalization of street camping, drug consumption, and property crime. As former Seattle public safety advisor,
where has property crime been de facto legalized? Where can you please, like like a crumb of de facto property crime legalization, please?
Scott Lindsay has shown, the city is now home to a large population of homeless, prolific offenders, people who commit property crimes to feed their addictions, but are rarely held accountable for those crimes.
So again, like back to the correlation does not equal causation part of this. These are problems. They are real problems. Okay. And trust me, if someone has mental illness and they are on the street, they can become violent. That is entirely a reality of the situation. None of that changes. My mother works as an Indigenous children's counselor and has, yes, been attacked by homeless people on the street. She's totally fine. Nothing happened. I'm not going to say that like everything is just roses and cherries, that this is a solution that, obviously has easy answers, to say the very least. But every single time I have seen examples done where the homeless have been housed. So money that is spent on housing the homeless, instead of, whatever the fuck PragerU is suggesting here, it has net benefits to society. You, as a proud capitalist, if you're at home and you're like, well, I want to save tax dollars. I don't want to pay for these vermin on the street anymore. I mean, heaven forbid. Look at them. Just using drugs. How dare they? And now I'm going to go spend fucking $100 on some cocaine so I can enjoy my night. Anyways, if that's the case, if that's generally what you want, then guess what? If you house the homeless, it saves you money in the long term. Typically, I mean, if you look at examples like Red Deer in Alberta, the cost of having a homeless person on the street apparently was somewhere between $80,000 to $100,000 a year in policing costs, healthcare costs, crime costs, all that kind of stuff. The stuff that you don't like, the bad things. Whereas housing them reduced it dramatically, somewhere into the tune of like $35,000 to $40,000 a year. So you are saving money as a taxpayer, ultimately.
By the criminal justice system. So, is ever-increasing homelessness our inevitable future? If our goal is to make life as attractive as possible for the homeless, the answer is yes. If our goal is to actually help the homeless, the answer is no.
So criminalize them, lock them up. Come on, get them off the streets and into prisons.
Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner is a Democrat, but his approach to homelessness is a world apart from his counterparts in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle. It is simply not acceptable for people to live on the streets. It is not good for them, and it is not good for the city, Turner has said. Houston's policy is a perfect example of what Turner calls a tough love approach. The city has built housing for the chronically homeless, formed a coalition of nonprofit partners, and lobbied the state government for more mental health and addiction services. At the same time, Turner has enforced a strict ban on public camping and promoted a citywide campaign to discourage citizens from giving money to panhandlers. The results are as instructive as they are stunning. Over the past 8 years, Houston has reduced its homeless population by 54%.
Reduced it to what? What do you think is happening to these? Like, did they just disappear? Did you Thanos snap the homeless problem? Did they evaporate?
Well, it has skyrocketed in West Coast cities. Different policies, different results. Where a Seattle politician opposes hosing down feces-covered sidewalks because hoses are racist, Houston fights in the courts for the
Dude, you can't just say things like that. Fucking PragerU.
right to clean up encampments. Where California progressives push for more drug and
Hoses are racist. What? What the fuck? Oh man. But hey, we have a new one. All right, let's just add that to the board. Fuck. Hooray. Hoses are racist. I knew it. Fuck. Every day when I look out the window, I see hoses burning crosses. Fuck. Doing lynchings. Like, what is up with these hoses? God damn, the hoses have to be stopped.
injection sites and have decriminalized thefts under $950, Houston imposes consequences not only for theft, but for aggressive panhandling, window washing, and other street obstructions. As this Texas city has demonstrated, local leaders in cities of any size can meaningfully reduce homelessness through a strategy that mixes compassion with common sense enforcement. If cities stop allowing public encampments and open drug consumption and start prosecuting property crimes, they will have much more success redirecting the homeless away from a life of self-destruction and toward a life of hope through mental health treatment, drug rehab, and job training. That's what we all want, isn't it? So why don't we do it? I'm Christopher Rufo, Senior Fellow at the Manhattan Institute for Prager University.
This video was made possible.
Oh yes, by a generous donation from the homeless lobby.
Hey, do you like movies? Do you like Serfs? Do you want movies and Serfs watching the movies? So then come over to the new channels. It's the Serfs Cinema. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Can you do the thing, that thumbs up and comment and all those things that help us out in the algorithm that controls every aspect of our lives? Also, if you happen to have a Facebook account, can you delete it? Like, just delete it. You should probably delete your Facebook account because it's not a great company. But hey, if you can't do that for whatever reason, I understand. And could you also go to facebook.com/thesurftimes then and give us a little like and a follow. We're just trying to push back against the fact that people like Ben Shapiro happen to dominate the platform entirely. And when everyone asks why do older generations believe the things they believe, one of the problems is the majority of them on social media use Facebook. So to counter that, we're just going to be on there too now. Also, if you happen to have a union or a worker co-op or even a leftist project, podcast, website, Zoom, MySpace, it doesn't matter. We will advertise it for free on this channel. All you got to do is go to weareserfs.com and use the forms that we got there, weareserfs.com. Thanks, everybody.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and VK Jehannam, we are prepared to commit human sacrifices for your eternal glory. To our monarchs, the Tim Caucus and Tom Spiker, we are humbled to be your oafish jesters, clowning around in your royal court. To our lords, Evan Nudie, Tofox, Ryan Lubin, Trevor R., Jeff Lamb, and Alexander Thaler, we shall proudly carry your standard onto the battlefield and die for your precious land. To our esteemed Knights of the Round Table, Dark Puppy, Jenna Towell, Anna Loves Riley, Quiet 185, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojak, Saren 42, Chronic to Hemphog, The Great Pudini, Bone Genie, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramona Costa, J. Fraser Cartwright, Jimmy Bignuts, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Yopi, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our glass, we raise our swords, and we salute you.